Hi everyone, my name is Gabby and I'm one of your discussion facilitators for this week. We are now on Module 10 and the topic for this module is Today's Threats and Impacts to Ocean Sustainability, Part 4, where we're looking at drivers of and solutions to overfishing. Quickly, I'm just going to go over the materials for this week. We did have 2 lecture videos and these focused on identifying and defining the issue of overfishing. They also highlight important components from our reading, such as IUU, otherwise known as illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. The lectures also look at the future outlook for global fisheries by analyzing some case studies which focus on how to go about rebuilding fish stocks. We also have 3 supplementary articles by Cabral, Costello, and Rashid et al. The first, by Cabral et al., discusses IUU fishing and acknowledges that while inevitable short-term reductions in fishing efforts, catch, and profit can be seen as a large threat to overfishing and its recovery, using strategies that are aimed specifically at addressing IUU fishing may result in success that isn't accompanied by these short-term costs. Next, we have the article by Costello et al. Now, this one analyzes worldwide fish stocks to develop a method for depleted fish recovery. It also analyzes the benefits of doing so. Finally, Rashid et al. Discusses how ending overfishing could lead to increased resilience to climate change within fish stocks and marine ecosystems on a global scale. We also had 2 textbook chapters to read, the first being chapter 23. This chapter looks at the emergence of overfishing and species depletion over time, and an interesting quote that I found from the chapter kind of puts things into perspective, and it states that we are eating today what our grandparents used as bait, and this really kind of makes you think about how species depletion has occurred over time. This chapter also emphasizes that while relentless intensity of fishing today is harming the oceans, it is also the destructive and wasteful ways in which the fishing takes place that is causing equivalent damage. The last reading we had was chapter 24, which discusses a few case studies to ultimately convey the idea that in order to recover global fisheries, we must change the way that we think about and manage our oceans. And it also suggests 7 very straightforward and common sense reforms to do this. Now for my presentation, I want to dive further into the Cabral study, which addresses IUU fishing. This study uses Indonesia as a case study to exhibit how implementing aggressive policies aimed at IUU fishing can improve catch rates without economic losses. Now, they did this in the study using policies aimed at high levels of IUU fishing experienced from foreign flagged vessels. And they did this by banning foreign fishing within the exclusive economic zone, otherwise known as the EEZ. They did this with 3 key approaches, the first being sinking illegal vessels, then banning foreign fishing vessels, also banning transfers of fish at sea. They also implemented 2 consecutive 6-month moratoriums on vessels of foreign origin that were registered in Indonesia, and that began in November 2014. Now, these policies have reduced total fishing effort by at least 25% by these foreign fleets, which is a big win. And the study suggests that applying this IUU mitigation strategy on a global scale can facilitate similar, rapid, long-lasting fishery gains in many regions of the world. Now, to dive into the pros of this study, it just shows that with consistent effort, success can be achieved. It also suggests that livelihood benefits do accompany the success pertaining to combating overfishing. Now, this is through the way that combating IUU fishing offers benefits not addressed in the analysis, and that is improving working conditions for crew and eliminating human rights abuses such as the use of slave labor, which is prevalent within IUU fishing and fishing vessels. The last pro is that overfishing isn't the only issue addressed, and this is because IUU policies in place can currently address a number of associated important issues such as human rights violations, illegal trade, smuggling, and human trafficking, and this can be translated into other applications of the method. Finally, some cons is that no similar analysis have been undertaken in other areas, and because of this, it is difficult to empirically test whether eliminating IUU fishing could allow countries to recover fisheries at little or no cost to local fishers. Another con is that reducing fishing mortality was not the sole objective in this study, as it might be in other areas. So the results seen here may not be transferable to other regions. Finally, the analysis was focused on industrial-sized boats only, and that is because it was just relevant to this study subject area. However, this can't really be translated to other areas where there are or is variation in fishing sites, vessels, and techniques. Lastly, I just have some questions for you guys to answer in the discussion thread. The first is, what other case studies or examples can you find where IUU fishing is being addressed? Can you compare some characteristics of those efforts to those within the Indonesia case study? The last question is, despite the success observed within Indonesia, do you think that similar approaches can be used to catalyze fishery recovery globally? Why or why not? That does conclude my presentation. Thank you guys for watching, and I look forward to hearing all of your comments in the discussion.